Hello Nigel, thank you for making this video about faith and suffering in response to my video Faith and ME. I think that it raises some questions in my mind. I think it was a very helpful video and encouraging to Christians who are suffering. And I have to say for myself that coming to terms with an illness as a Christian has not been easy, especially as a Christian who believes in a God who heals today, and who is a God who is able to make bodies well. And I mean, it's hard to deny it, because you look in scriptures and all through it we see Jesus always healed everyone who came to him, and there's so much to suggest that God desires that we be healthy. And yet, as the other guy said on the video, there are dilemmas when we're talking about individuals. I mean, to make someone feel guilty because they're ill is far from helpful, because God's a God of grace. It's not that we earn anything from him. He gives it to us freely. And I don't understand why totally I'm ill at this time. I must admit I'm still believing that God will heal me, and I guess that I will always believe that till the day that I die, that he's a God who loves me and cares for me and wants me to be well. In fact, that's part of faith in many ways. In Hebrews 13, where we have the whole list of people who were men of faith, it's got those who actually received the thing that were promised, and there were those who died believing that they would receive it. But I would believe that God will heal me through till the day I can no longer believe that he will heal me, whether it be through the skill of some medical profession, or whether it be through through a miraculous healing from him, through to the laying on of hands. Whatever way that God might heal me, I believe that he is more than able to do that. But having said that, while I am going through this, there is no doubt that there is a purpose in it. And I think as Christians we can have this faith. The Bible talks about that all things together work for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his name. And that I believe every circumstance that I go through is being used for his glory and for my benefit, and that also includes my illness. The guy on the video talked about how being a Christian when everything's going all right is easy, but it's when things are going wrong that's when people have to take note. When you're still hanging on. I mean, Job, he was told to curse God by his friends and die, but he refused to, because he believed in a God who loved him, and that God was a righteous and just God. So that I think is one of the purposes of our suffering, is that we can, it causes us to be even more firm in our faith. It would seem with the Christian faith, the more muck that's chucked at you, the stronger that you become. But I also believe that through this time of illness, that there's been a greater sense of the presence of God in my life, and of him holding me up. And I don't know how I'd have got through the last few months had I not had a faith in God. And I often look at others who are going through similar things, who can see no purpose in their suffering at all, and I wonder how they manage to cope, and how they don't despair. And if there's one thing I don't do, and that's despair. I do not despair, because I trust entirely in God. But also the suffering has another purpose that I can see from my point of view, and that has been in being able to enter into the suffering of other people. And if anything else, Christianity is about a God who comes and enters into our world. And I've said this before in some of my videos, that he's not a God who is far removed from his creation, but he becomes intimately involved, and he comes as a man, Jesus, and he experiences what it is to be human fully, and fully identifies with us, and in fully identifying with us he rescues us out of our sin and suffering. And I think that in many ways God calls some of us to suffer sickness, that we might enter into the suffering of the sick and understand. How can you even begin to be able to have an understanding for someone who is ill unless you have experienced it yourself? And the guy on the telephone, he talked about someone who sort of rebukes him for not having enough faith, and if you've suffered, you couldn't do that. If you've had an illness, you would have to have compassion. And I think if there's one thing that this has done for me, has given me more compassion. I worked with disabled people, but I didn't understand what it felt like to be disabled. But I do now. I know what it feels like. But there's another thing as well, and my brain is a bit foggy today, and if it's all a bit jumbled, well, I do apologise. But I wanted to make this video. The other thing is the privilege that God has given me in this time, and being able to make these videos on YouTube and being able to talk to people who are going through similar things has been a great encouragement, and to be able to share something of the love of Jesus with them, and has been a particularly special blessing, and to be able to pray for those who contact me and ask that God would draw close to them again has been of great contact. So I consider this a privilege as well. So in summarising my rather messy video is that yes, I believe in a God who heals. Yes, I will continue to believe in a God who heals. But at this moment in time, while I'm suffering, however long God intends that should be, I will know him in it, and I will continue to turn my eyes to him, and know that his love for me is complete, and I'm not suffering because of anything I've done, from my lack of faith, or from any other reason. But in all of this, I want to give him all the glory. So, as I say, very messy video. Thinking's not too brilliant, speech not too brilliant today. I did a foolish thing, and I walked round to my daughter's, which was a round trip of about 3/4 of a mile. Not a good idea. So anyhow, I think I've said enough. Just thanks for posting that. Bye.